Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Donna Villa coming to you from Chicago, USA. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The president of the Italian Episcopal Conference, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, has conveyed the solidarity and closeness of his brother bishops with the Nicaraguan Church and its episcopate. In a letter published on August 20, the Cardinal said that he received with dismay the news of the persecutions that the people of God and the clergy are undergoing. He said they are suffering for showing fidelity to the gospel. He also made mention of the detention of Bishop Rolando Jose Alvarez Lagos of Matagalpa, as well as seminarians, priests, and laity. Cardinal Zuppi condemned their detention as a very serious act. In the letter, he said that the prelates are following the government's action against the church and how Christians are being targeted and prevented from exercising their faith. Cardinal Zuppi lamented that such incidents are taking place at a time when human rights are facing threats in the country. In boldly defying the oppressive measures of the Sandinista government, hundreds of Catholic believers and priests took part in a Marian procession on Sunday, August 21. It was the Diocese of Leon, a suffragan of the Managua Archdiocese, which hosted the annual procession of Our Lady of Mercy, the patroness of Leon. The one-hour procession carrying the centuries-old statue brought from Spain began at the sanctuary of Our Lady of Mercy with a blessing by its rector, Father Mauro Paniagua. In a related development, special prayers for Nicaragua and other Latin American nations were offered during the Men's Rosary here in the U.S. in Miami, Florida. The Rosary was held on Saturday, August 20, on the premises of Our Lady of Guadalupe, where 1,000 believers took part. The Rosary was led by Miami Archbishop Thomas Wensky and recited in both Spanish and English. The prelate lamented that the leftist government of Daniel Ortega is persecuting the church in Nicaragua. In the U.S. state of Maryland, a federal judge has rejected a lawsuit filed by concerned parents against guidelines regarding transgender and gender non-conforming students. On Thursday, August 18, Judge Paul Grimm dismissed the case against the Montgomery County Board of Education. Parents accused the guidelines of the Montgomery County Public Schools, or MCPS, of violating their state and federal constitutional rights. The guidelines regarding gender identity urges its staff to come out with a support plan for students who claim to be trans or gender non-conforming. It also authorizes school authorities to withhold changes to the gender identity of students from parents unless required by the court. In the lawsuit, parents argued that the guidelines were drafted to circumvent parental involvement in decisions affecting their children's care, health, education, and future. The state of Wisconsin here in the U.S. will witness its second annual March for Life on September 24. Hundreds of pro-life supporters and believers from across the state are slated to take part in the march. The event will begin at the Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison at 1:30 p.m. local time. There will be inspirational talks by pro-life leaders, followed by the march around the Capitol demanding respect for the sanctity of life. The March for Life this year gains significance in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade on June 24. It was Roe that legalized abortion here in the United States in 1973, leading to the murder of over 63 million unborn babies. With several Republican-controlled states enacting laws curbing abortion in various stages of pregnancy, similar marches and events are expected in the coming months. Prominent Hong Kong media mogul and pro-democracy activist Jimmy Lai appeared in court on Monday, August 22nd. Lai, who was charged for collusion with foreign forces, pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. On the other hand, 6 other former employees of Lai's now defunct Apple Daily newspaper have pleaded guilty. It is reported that the Catholic philanthropist trial will not have a jury. Instead, it will be held before a panel of 3 national security judges vetted by the government. Meanwhile, New York-based Human Rights Watch has urged Hong Kong authorities to drop all charges against 47 opposition lawmakers and activists who are under detention. Beijing imposed the draconian national security law on Hong Kong 2 years ago. Rights activists allege that it is being used to foist sedition charges against dissenters and curb free speech. The Pontifical Charity Aid to the Church in Need in UK has sought government action to tackle violations of the freedom of religion. National Director of the Pontifical Charity, Dr. Carolyn Hall, said that the successor of Prime Minister Boris Johnson must take action to end such abuses. She also urged the British government to grant asylum to a young Pakistani Christian girl whose life is under threat. Dr. Hall was referring to the case of Myra Shabazz, who was kidnapped when she was 14, forced to convert to Islam, and raped before being coerced to marry her abductor. Although she managed to escape, she and her family have been hiding for the past 2 years, fearing retribution from Muslims. She said that granting asylum is something that the British government could authorize. Dr. Hall also pointed out the persecution of Christians in Africa, especially in Nigeria. A biographical movie on the life of Saint Anthony Mary Claret, the founder of the Claretian congregation, was released in North America yesterday, August 22nd. Produced by the Claretians and Stellarum Films in Spain, the movie, entitled Slaves and Kings, was directed by Pablo Moreno. It brings to the screen the inspiring life of Saint Claret, a Spanish archbishop, writer, and missionary. He served as the Archbishop of Cuba and the confessor of Queen Isabella II of Spain. Director Moreno said that the movie is all about a saint who is relevant to our times. Saint Claret gave everything in defense of the truth and fought against racism and slavery in the 19th century Cuba. The movie is based on real events, and it dispels the dark legends about the saint who was canonized in 1950 by Pope Pius XII. Despite the widespread violence and the killings of Christian believers in Nigeria, the church in the West African nation is thriving and vibrant. Last Sunday, August 21st, the Archdiocese of Abuja witnessed the ordination of 12 transitional deacons to the priesthood. The ceremony took place at the Holy Cross Parish and was led by Archbishop Ignatius Kegama. In his homily, he welcomed the new priests as fellow workers. He urged them not to neglect the grace of God and to do nothing to people who might object to whatever they are not supposed to do. The prelate also exhorted the newly ordained priests not to be distracted by the very things they have left behind for the sake of the kingdom of God. Archbishop Kegama said the new priests are the messengers of hope and the animators of faith communities as well as spiritual guides. In another news development, for the first time in the history of the Republic of Turkey, an Armenian Christian has been appointed as governor of a district. 27-year-old Berk Akar has been appointed as the new governor of Babadag district in the southeastern province of Denizli. A graduate of the Istanbul Bilgi Üniversitesi Law School, Akar was working in a law firm where he excelled in the governor's selection test held in Ankara last year. His selection will bring renewed hope to the Armenian minority in the country, which is facing oppression. After the Armenian genocide in the early years of the previous century, the number of Armenian believers in the Muslim-majority country is less than 60,000. Out of the 38 churches belonging to the Armenian Patriarchate in Constantinople, 33 are in Istanbul and its suburbs. An attack by the coalition of armed groups in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC, has killed at least 21 people, including 9 women and 6 children, on August 17. The carnage took place at the Biragara gold mine in Mutambala. Over 400 homes were also set on fire in the raid. The attack is blamed on former leaders of the Congolese armed forces, namely Makanika, Sematama, Mitobu, and their allies. The mine is in Mutambala in the province of South Kivu in the eastern part of the country. Scores have fled the violence-hit region. A local civil society representative said that the internally displaced people are not supported by the Congolese government or humanitarian organizations. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.